The worst part was I named everybody. I named Donald Trump. I named everyone who I thought was a co-conspirator at the time. So I named Alan Dershowitz, Donald Trump, absolutely the Clintons. These are people that I saw coming and going, that I knew were part of it. And I made it really clear that this is a very scary thing for children, and that I see between 5 and 10 girls a day going upstairs. And now that I know what's happening to them, I want it stopped. And the weirdest part was, at Wexner's, I was held under guard.
In these interviews from Whitney Webb, she discusses the attacks on her integrity and research as she exposes the bipartisan, transnational networks behind the Epstein scandal. Webb explains how her work is rooted in deep sourcing and original investigation, and why attempts to discredit her are part of a broader effort to keep the public from understanding the true scale of elite criminality and cover-up.
Whitney Webb of The Last American Vagabond. Ryan and I decided to release the first half of my recent phone call with Maria Farmer with Maria Farmer's full permission. Maria is the first Jeffrey Epstein victim to report both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the FBI, which she did back in 1996, and her sister Annie Farmer is also an Epstein victim. The intention behind Ryan and I deciding to release this phone call was being as transparent as possible regarding recent interviews and things I stated regarding my call with Maria, as well as helping this information reach the widest audience possible. Without further ado, here's the first half of my conversation with Maria Farmer.
Yeah, I've wanted to talk to you for ages. I really, during all this stuff with Wexner, I've just been dying to talk to you because I just sort of have the scoop on them, and no one in the media is willing to talk about it.
Yeah,
no one I talk to about them ever tells.
Well, I am a little different, as you know. I've been willing to go. I have also been really interested in hearing what you have to say because, a lot of my interest, or not interest really, but focus on Epstein has been a lot of the stuff that happened, in the 90s and even before then. Because I think that hasn't gotten enough attention, and I think that's where a lot of the real story is. Right.
Exactly.
And so, right. I know that you know. So.
Yeah, for some reason, I mean, it really helps them to oppress all the truth, so as much as they can with where it all began, they're going to keep it quiet, and the FBI, Whitney, is so much an evil, I mean, I can't even explain to you how abusive the effing BI is. It's unbelievable to me. I mean, they... First of all, never offered me witness protection. When I first called them, they knew I was telling. Believe me, they knew they knew everything I was telling them. They already knew because they're in on it. And it was so weird his reactions when I was talking to him. I called and I got some answer guy, and then he passes me to some guy who's when I start talking about Wexner, and I asked the guy, "Do you have?" This is all over the phone in 1996. I said, "Do you have a file on Les Wexner?" And he said, "Why?" And I said, "He's the head of the snake in this, in America." And I don't even know I was intuiting this. And also, I think it's common sense when you see all the stuff I saw going on. And anyway, when I said that to him, he said, "Yeah, I don't know, maybe we do." And I said, "Well, these people are using child pornography, and they've stolen photographs of my sisters." That right there would have been life in prison for Jeffrey and Ghislaine. I still have the envelopes with their touch DNA and fingerprints on them, and the FBI will not take them from me. They never would. They would never take the envelopes that they stole. I mean, they photographs out of these envelopes, and I have proof. I still have the envelopes, Whitney. And the FBI was like, "Yeah, no, we don't need that." They also knew in 1996 that I'd been trafficked and Annie had been trafficked, and that was. The worst part was I named everybody. I named Donald Trump. I named everyone who I thought was a co-conspirator at the time. So I named Alan Dershowitz, Donald Trump, absolutely the Clintons. These are people that I saw coming and going, that I knew were part of it. And I made it really clear that this is a very scary thing for children, and that I see between 5 and 10 girls a day going upstairs. And now that I know what's happening to them, I want it stopped. And the weirdest part was at Wexner's, I was held under guard.
Webb's research into the Epstein network is built on thousands of footnotes and original sources, not hearsay or rumor. She explains how the same elite actors and institutions keep reappearing in every major scandal, and why attempts to discredit her work are really about protecting the bipartisan, transnational networks that have operated with impunity for decades.
Yeah, I was held under guard. So when I first got there, this guy named Randy Bowie was there to show me around. And I got there in a Ryder truck with someone who
This is
is
when
an
you were
acquaintance,
tracking
not even a great friend.
the mural at Wexner's mansion? This is what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, so here's the other thing. I had actually told him, I had told Epstein, because I was really grossed out by them, I said, just the way they behaved, they were so ostentatious and like nouveau riche, like always buying things and all about things, especially Guylaine, and she would always scream at me. She was very verbally abusive. I have a lot to tell you about her, a lot. I know her very, very well. I would say Virginia and I are the only two that really know her, and I know her well. I lived around her for a year, like lived in all of their houses with them. And so, oh my gosh, that woman is the most dangerous asset for Israel that you can even imagine. I mean, she is so dangerous. And she grew up with the royals. Like, she showed me all the photo albums, but I'll get back to that. But anyway, just basically, the Wexners held me. This guy, Randy Bowie, shows up and he says, oh, hey, you're going to really love it here. And he's like, and Abigail's going to call you in a minute and welcome you here. And she's really excited about it. So the deal was, I had taken a project from this guy who's a director, James Brooks. He's a director of like a lot of films. I think he did The Simpsons. He does a lot of stuff. And I liked a lot of his work. And he did the movie As Good as It Gets. And it was supposed to be a small project. It wasn't even going to be a big deal. And so he had asked Eric Fischel to do the paintings for the movie. And Eric Fischel said, you know what? I have someone that I'm too busy right now, but I know someone who would love that opportunity. And he handed it to me. And I talked to James Brooks on the phone, and he said, okay, I'm going to take a look at your work, then we'll decide. He picked me. And then I said to Jeffrey and Guylaine, I want to quit because I'm going to be, I'm going to be going to, be doing these paintings for this movie. And they said, no, you can't quit. You can't quit. This is what they did every time. I don't know why, but they were like, no, you can't quit. And at this point, they'd already seen a picture of Annie, so that may be why, too. And they're like, okay, so you can just go and do this project at Wexner's because we've actually, filed and meaning to send you there because Abigail said she wants an artist in residence. And
Abigail Wexner,
can you hear me still?
You mean, yeah.
Yeah, Abigail Wexner wanted me as an artist in residence there, is what Epstein and Maxwell told me. So anyway, when I get there, so I wasn't working on, I was doing no project for the Wexners. I didn't care about them, I wasn't impressed by them or anything, and I didn't even want to go there. I did not want to go to Ohio, but I did. I went to Ohio, and when I got there, he was saying to me, Randy was like, listen, you'll go inside and take a call from Abigail, but don't come outside again unless you call her and get her permission. Now here I'm standing outside, and it's really beautiful with my little dog, and I'm thinking, wait, what? And my stomach just sank. And that was like the first clue. And so I talked to her, and she was very phony, creepy, but, very like over the top welcoming for like 20 minutes, congratulating me on the project, telling me. So when this woman says she's never heard of me, I want to slap her because not only has she heard of me, she kept me captive in that house. I mean, I went out 3 months, and no one ever talks about it. I was there for 3 months, and I was only allowed outside like 4 or 5 times the whole time I was there. And the other thing that the mainstream crappy lying media will never talk about, I guess because Wexner has such ownership of them, I think he's embarrassed of like the wealth or something, because the house I lived in that was the guest house was 26,000 square feet. And I lived there by myself.
Wow, that's big.
That was the guest house. His house, which was right behind it, and I can send you pictures. I mean, really close. I have pictures of my brother on the back porch, and This was one of the times we were allowed out, and you can see their house very clearly from him. And you can see in an aerial view. It looks like a second set of arches. Anyway, it's the guest house. And it very much was owned by them, and they had 330 acres that surrounded it, so you can't leave the house. But they're trying to say, we don't have anything to do with that house she was living in. Anyway, whatever. So I guess allegedly they had handed it over to Jeffrey for like a year. You know, they were always doing these really creepy money laundering things with real estate.
Yeah, I know.
And
I was going to do a whole series on that actually, because I think that's where the whole Epstein-Trump relationship is from. All the, real estate and stuff in Manhattan that was going on there. It was being passed around to all these shady shell companies and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. So anyway, but this house that I lived in, so while I'm there the whole time, I would call like 100 times before I would get anyone on the phone, and I'd have to ask, I really want to go outside today. And the other part, you're not going to believe this, I had been told that I would be able to eat at this country club and stay there. Go there and play tennis. And I don't really play tennis or anything, but I thought, I'll learn how to play tennis. I'm in Ohio, why not? And so I only got to go there twice and take a couple lessons. I don't know if you know about Claire Hazel. Do you know about her?
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, she's someone you really need to look into her, because she's a key co-conspirator that no one discusses. And Ghislaine got her married off to one of the what are they called, the Guinness family. So now she's Lady Claire. And you're not going to believe this, Whitney. You know the Eyes Wide Shut? It was filmed in Lady Claire's mansion, estate.
Wow. It says Claire Hazel is dead. Is that true? I didn't. Oh no, that's a different
what?
Person. No. It says obituary in Cincinnati, Ohio. No, that's not the same person then.
No. This Claire Hazel is British, and Ghislaine brought her over. She procured girls from England, at least 2, and you can tell by the flight logs. But it's really weird because she was just a real creeper, and she was like asked to babysit me when I was in Ohio. But Jeffrey introduces her to me as his girlfriend, and he had already told me he was married to Ghislaine. And I'm like, wow, this is so confusing. I had no idea what's happening.
The truth is, these crimes were never meant to come to light. The system was built to protect itself, not the vulnerable. But survivors like Maria Farmer refused to stay silent, risking everything to expose the hidden machinery of abuse and cover-up. The evidence is clear. The world's most powerful people are not above the law. They are shielded by it. Only by questioning authority, demanding transparency, and refusing to accept official stories can we hope to break the cycle of secrecy and bring real justice. The fight isn't over, and the truth will not stay buried.